Hey guys, so right here is the gear. We have a Treet Platinum blade with not too many uses on it, I think. If you're curious about that, you can look in the description of the video. The soap here is the Rambler from Zingari Man. It's their Sego base, I'm pretty sure. And that's a tallow base. The 1250 is the brush today. He's been soaking for a little while. He's a Boar brush, of course, and he is the opposite of the brush I've been using lately, the B1 from Declaration Grooming. It's a very dense knot. This is not a very dense knot. It has a lot of backbone. This does not have very much backbone. I don't think it's too floppy. I think it's just kind of backed off a little bit more than medium, more floppy than medium, but not quite floppy, in my opinion. And it is and so I think it's going to be a fun contrast today. I've got the B1 and I've used it several times now, but haven't really enjoyed it. It's just too stiff for me. It's very stiff. So we're gonna just kind of put that one on the shelf and enjoy other brushes, no matter whether it's a legendary status or not. If you don't enjoy it, right, then there we go. The Homelike shaving Taiga razor. We continue to use that one. Let us load up the blade. The Treet Platinum is one that I know, if I recall correctly, I got this crazy deal on a ton of them. And so I don't know if that's something that happens a lot, and so this represents a very inexpensive option for guys out there. But I tell you what, there are certain razors. I don't think this guy does amazing in all razors for me, but there are definitely certain ones where this guy shines and does a great job. And I figure I'll go ahead and try him out, the Treet Platinum. Treet has a whole line of razors, razor blades, just like the chrome ones. I think they've probably got some carbon ones. And then we will set the aggression to just the 1 right there. On the Taiga, stainless steel, adjustable razor from Russia. And then I'm going to take the little, if you need to know how to lather, how to build up your soap from, build up your lather from a sample. We'll do that today. Basically, you just use a scoop, press at the bottom of the bowl, that's it. Where most of the time a 1/4 teaspoon is a great measure. It's my starting point. And I know that this is a very good soap base, but I can't remember off the top of my head if I'm going to get a little bit more than the 1/4 teaspoon here, because Zingari typically is a low strength scent, and I just want to make sure I give myself the best chance to be able to kind of feel it and taste it and all that stuff, sample it. Strawberry is a note that comes up right away, and then along its side is a tobacco type note, and so it's definitely not cutie fruity. It's more like a seasoned tobacco, a flavored tobacco, if you will. The notes they mention here: tobacco, vanilla, and red fruit. The scent notes, man, there are, 10 different scent notes in the 3 different layers of the scent profile, top, middle, and bottom notes. And those will be in the description if you want to check those out. Strawberry and raspberry are in that top note category. And so that's what they mean by the red fruits. And I just got my beard all wet. And we have the 1/4 teaspoon plus pressed into the bottom of the lather bowl. I think we're ready to go. Just tilt you down and start working this lather up. Nice long soak. I like to soak Boar brushes for at least 3 minutes, if not 15 or more. This one maybe has had 20 minutes of soaking, maybe half an hour. And it's definitely not a brush. Many of the Semogues that kind of look like this, not a brush that you want to get if you are really into density or backbone. Some people say that Semogues take a long time to break in, and I find that it's true and not true at the same time. It's well, how about that? Everything just kind of came crashing down there. And that was, it just landed in a way that 3 or 4 things all just kind of made noise all at once. That was the noisiest one I think I've ever had. Oh man, I secured it pretty well. Maybe this suction cup thing is getting old. I don't know. Maybe you just have to buy a new one every 6 months or something like that. Maybe I need to start rinsing off the suction cup. I don't know. I have to make a plan. I can't afford to keep crashing my phone into the sink, So I was talking about the Semogues and how, yes, they can take a while to break in, but only in the sense of the tips fully splitting. If you're talking about just getting comfortable, getting enjoyable to use, not eating lather, that sort of thing, then I find that they, anywhere from 5 to 15 shaves is all it takes to get the brush to that state, to an enjoyable state where it's functioning well. And sure, it does take a while for the tips to split. So that's why some people adopt, with about any bore brush, some people adopt a accelerator mechanism. A mild method might be to soak ahead of time, like a 1-hour soak between each use. And when I've done that, I've found that most bores are really enjoyable within just 5 uses. I'm experimenting to get those tips to split, as you faithful viewers will know, with a hairdryer method, where I picked one brush to try it out on, and I give it a nice long soak, and then I blow dry the hairs with a low temperature setting across the tops, and I get them just to where the tips are dry and the knot is still damp in the middle, and that's it. And I definitely believe it is speeding things up. I think it's causing those tips to split much more quickly. Hopefully it is doing it in a safe way. I've regularly seen tips split to 5 different tips. But if a bad split happens and you only get 2 tips out of it, or worse yet, even just 1, if all the other ones break off except for 1, then that's probably not a good way to go. Well, this is a beautiful soap that makes lather here. Got a nice sheen. It's very creamy. There are some soaps that have kind of a granular texture to them because of the ingredients. I don't know what ingredients will do that. I've had some Razor Rock soaps that be that way, and I've had some other soaps, and I don't think it's a measure of quality. It's just the ingredients that were used is my guess. But I tell you what, this one was just full tilt, smooth. It wasn't creamy per se. It still required some scooping and some pressing into the bottom of the bowl. But man, it was so smooth. She has a really consistent mix with her soaps. Heather is the person that heads up the Zingari Man brand, and she's a skincare professional, and so you can believe that that her stuff is going to be going to cater to that particular concept, and she's going to have products that help your skin in her balms and her soaps and all that. That's also why her soaps usually have less scent strength, because that is something that tends to irritate some people's skin sometimes. Vanilla? Do I get any vanilla? A hint, but really it's kind of low. Oh yeah, again, it's very low strength soap. I got a lot more when I was just smelling the dry tub. Get my face wet again, and not the camera. So this is a little tiny brush, 22 millimeters, something like that. And look, we've got a nice big bloom. You can see how it easily covers the face. Matter of fact, it gives you more room to work here. Does not have a lot of scrub at all. And then of course, when it gets a lot of those tips to split, it's going to have more comfort and smoothness and even less scrub. This one has, I don't know, 24 uses, somewhere around there. So if you, this is a decent option if you do have sensitive skin because of the light touch here. And you can tell we have a wet lather today with the way it's dripping. But this, one of the things I like about this is not a very dense brush, and so something I like about those types of brushes, there's plenty of lather room in the brush. You don't run into that situation where you get no lather in the middle. You have to keep rotating and like winding it off the sides. You see, I haven't had to do that one time during this whole thing here because the lather just circulates through the brush more easily because there's room for it. Boar brushes can be a brush that you can really get attached to as you use it. If you have a small brush rotation, then you can just have the philosophy of just using the brush and let that be what breaks the brush in, and a lot of people do that. If you have a large rotation like me, then in your brushes, your bores are going to be at this low use count for a very long time. And that is why I decided to adopt some kind of accelerator. All right, have we worked the lather into my skin for long enough to have it kind of protect and connect and bind to my skin? I think probably so. And Zingari is a great base, and one of the hallmarks of a good soap, in my opinion, is that whether it's a little too thick or a little too thin, it still holds together really well and gives you good slickness. And we've got something on the border of too thin in this case, and it still looks tremendous, hasn't fallen apart, anything like that. So Treet Platinum, 1.5 days of growth. Keep my handle angle fairly open, as I've learned with this razor. I do feel a little resistance here. It's not quite moving through the hair, with effort and with ease. But it's pretty good. Not any tugging. We are getting a nice slickness here. Very low strength. I'm not really experiencing the scents here as a part of the shave. So they're just bare hints floating around the air, and that's unfortunate because a lot of there are definitely some soaps from Zingari Man that I wish I could use on a regular basis because the scent profiles are very nice. Also on lesser soaps, when you run them too thin, a little bit too thin like this one, when you go to the rinse, all it takes is maybe one splash or two and it is gone. Okay, but this is a good soap and it's bonded to my skin like I was telling you. At least that's the way I kind of choose to think about it. And so even then, even still being so thin, I felt that slickness as I was working the lather off my face to get a rinse. And that's what a good soap will do for you. Just doesn't wash away super quickly because it's just, this one probably has some oils and butters, you know, in there in addition to the tallow to help with skin moisturization. So yeah, if you want a lot of scrub, this is not the brush for you. Very light touch on the face for this one. Cross grain now. It's kind of a heavy razor, and so it takes some getting used to kind of reinforce a light hold on it, light moving it across your face with a very light pressure. I do lightly smell mainly the strawberry. I think the raspberry is in there too. It just seems the strawberry seems to be more easy to notice. The lowest setting seems to be kind of a mid-range setting for me, and so I don't think I'll stray very often on this razor with anything higher than the lowest setting. And the rinses do have that wonderful slickness I was telling you about. So they have a nice luxurious feel to them. And a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon seems to be pretty much perfect because I've got a little bit margin left in the bowl, and we're about to put on our third pass. When I was down in the sink just now, kind of rinsing and splashing, I did get a stronger whiff of the scent, and that's nice. And it was mainly a touch of the vanilla, but mostly tobacco and even more the strawberry type scent. And so it still is smelling like a kind of a flavored tobacco, which I do enjoy. I just wish it were stronger. So I would probably enjoy the splash, the balm, you know. I don't know if she only does balms or if she does splashes too. I don't often order aftershave products like splashes because I've already got a good many and they're being used up so slowly. I mainly focus on getting my scent entertainment from the soap. And so that's why makers like Zingari and many declaration scents, just especially the samples, are just kind of low strength, and so I don't have as many of those. I don't in my rotation in a big way. The good soaps: Stirling, Barrister and Man, Declaration Grooming, Zingari Man, Noble Otter, Summer Break, Mammoth, just Holy Cow, and did I say Stirling? Those type of soaps are going to be great ones to play around with if you want to learn how to add water, because even if you go a little bit too far, like I did today, you still end up with a wonderfully slick, high-performance lather that does its job. The lesser soaps will start, you'll have the skipping as you move your razor across your skin because it's broken down at that point and you've lost some of that lubrication. All right. So, so the Treet Platinum was was kind of going uphill at first because it was 1.5 days of growth. And so it didn't just shine. Many razor blades can move right through that with no problem. However, it did a reasonable job. So I'd say it's a good combo. I don't know if I'd say very good, but it was a good combo. Gets the job done. Let's check out the closeness. You know, not quite as efficient. There's still some length in some of these tips. Let's just, now that we've done 3 passes, there might be an enough kindness left over here. Can I go against the grain? Or that's kind of bothering me a little. Ooh, yeah, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Not quite the right razor to let me do it. Razor would have to be more mild for me to pull that off without irritation. Hopefully the annoyance that I just gave my skin will be short-lived. Let's put on some balm. We've got some Dunshire here. Didn't even think as I gathered up my stuff to come and shave. I forgot to get a post-shave product. But fortunately I just have this one on hand. It's a very light scent. Acquadigio is the inspiration. And Stirling balms, I think they're pretty overrated. I think they do a very good job. And if you're like me, splash on a little water before you apply them. And if you kind of have oily skin or you don't need a lot of the balm to be on your face, you don't want to be too greasy, then that little bit of water will just help a little go a long way. You'll still get some nice balm benefits, but it won't leave you too much. With a little over a quarter teaspoon used of the soap, the water looks like about 16, 17 milliliters. When am I going to stop saying millimeters first? I don't know. And yeah, I'm still feeling that irritation right up here. I don't have any weepers or anything like that. I don't think. But just a little bit of razor burn because I tried it and it didn't work. So there we go. Good shave. So this Treet Platinum works well in this particular razor for me. At the lowest setting, it was comfortable, and I would not want to try that against the grain again, but it worked just fine for cross grain, even though it didn't quite give me a ton of closeness. Most jobs, I think, wouldn't have a problem with me walking in with that. I don't think anybody would notice a shadow or anything like that. But for you nitpicky guys who go for a really close shave, of course, you can probably go against the grain, and I think that'll fix you right up. But if you can't go against the grain, then maybe finding a more perfect combo might be worth it. Good shave. Fun to play around. I had been wanting to try the Rambler for a while. I like the scent, just a little bit too weak for me to buy a full tub. Glad to put another use on this nice little Boar brush. Always comfy. I like it. All right, now, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully there's been something in this video good for you. Take care.